Good evening and welcome to the City of Caribou Candidate Forum. My name is Jessica Plord and I will be your moderator for this evening. By charter, the Caribou City Council officials is held on the first Tuesday of November after the first Monday in each year, and City Council members are elected as follows. First city election, 2 for the first Monday of January. All powers of the city are vested in the council except as otherwise provided by law or the city's charter. Now, I would like to introduce involved in the planning board and is a current rec commissioner. Next, we have Christine Lister. Christine is a passionate advocate for community and family support. As a homeschooling mother of 8 and a military spouse, he has had previous elected public service experience as a town meeting member in his hometown of Milton, Massachusetts. Leiden holds an associate's degree in criminal justice as well as electronic technology experience. He has served on the Caribou City Council from 2014 to 2017 and has also served on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Following their opening statements, we will begin the question process. Again, proceeding in alphabetical order. This time it'd be with Ms. Lister. We'll respond to the question number 1, followed by Mr. Okay, and then if time allows, we'll take questions from the audience. If you have a question, please write it on one of the yellow cards at the table at the front and hand the card to Christina Caden Gibson. Please make sure that your questions are intended for all of the candidates.
And for spending their time and conducting this forum tonight. My name's Thomas Ayer, and I've been living here all my life, all 32 years of it. I was born and raised right here in this community and have been active in sports and stuff. And I'm really vested into this community and its well-being. We need to find a way to keep people my age here. I graduated in 2004, and I can count on my own 2 hands. Thank you.
Perfect. Next, Ms. Lister.
Well, thank you and good evening. I also want to offer my thanks to everyone for taking the time to come or to watch from home. I'm a huge proponent of events like these so the voter has as much 40 years. When my county husband and I married in Florida, we knew that we wanted to return permanently to where it had been a source of peace from the overbusyness of our lives. We wanted our 8 children to learn to work hard, play hard, and be creative. A leader, a production coordinator, a homeschool educator, a small business owner, and a compassionate citizen. I've been attending council meetings fairly regularly in the last year. I'm a founding member of the Main Street Downtown Team, a life man. The decisions before our city council are not ones that can be made lightly, especially when money or quality of life is involved. I value regular communication. I have hosted events to meet and hear voter concerns, and I call citizens. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks. Now, Mr. Leiden.
Well, thank you for inviting me here, fellow candidates, and Jessica and Christina, and council members in the audience, and citizens, a town meeting member, and some student government. So I thought it was a good opportunity I saw there was 2 openings, and it's a good opportunity to give back to the community. So a little more about myself. That's right next to Boston, so I think it's Caribou has great opportunities here to grow if we everybody gives it a chance, and I'm going to try to work to help bring businesses here.
People in the room, including the council and Jessica and Christine. My name is Jody Smith. I'm a lifelong resident of Caribou. I'm currently the grounds and equipment supervisor of the main Veterans Cemetery in Caribou since 2005. I'm running for, we're having a lot of trouble. There's a lot of great things happening in Caribou, so I'd like to be part of that. I did serve on the council for 3 years in the previous term.
Public and city staff members. We also used some of the questions from last year's forum. Each candidate will be allowed up to 2 minutes to answer each question, and there are 8 questions in total. The Lister. What do you see as the greatest concern for the Caribou community? What do you see as our greatest need?
Outward migration, and my young adults are migrating out shortly after graduation. We lose 15% of our workforce and potential job creators from age 18 until about age 35 when they come back. Obviously, and consistently ranks well in quality of life surveys. And this is a great testament to those who have worked hard to adapt and keep up with the changes in our society over the last 20 years. I believe our greatest need is to put our noses to the grindstone and start making some serious and yes, market these opportunities. I have no shame in promoting Caribou to our students in our schools. I am 100% a fan of every business owner in our city. I want to see them begin to grow, succeed, and eventually pass on.
Very big problem. Also, we have an aging population. Maine's ranked as the oldest state. It's been ranked as the oldest state. Program, that's a new program from this year, the Tax and Jobs Act. Caribou is not an opportunity zone or opportunity zones, all that in blue, and we're here. So what that means is an opportunity zone is if you invest capital gains into an opportunity fund, everybody has identified the problems and have seen, say, well, how do we do it? You know, that's one way. I'd suggest doing that with other communities and take advantage of this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
I guess I'll agree with the previous candidates. Economic development and outsourcing. Talk about people leaving our area, settle down in another area, purchase a home. They're vested in that area, so somebody's 30 years old, it's really going to take a lot to bring them back. So I think we need to start before the people leave the area. The concern would be to start with the people before they leave, and then work on getting people back or new people to the region.
Our biggest thing is that there's an old saying, Aroostook County isn't the edge of the world, but you can see it from here. We might be close, but there's a lot of opportunity up here to be able to solve this issue. A lot of people say, geez, we can't live here because of X, Y, and Z. We need to change that. We need to be business friendly, and there's history here, and it's a beautiful area. We need to work on that stuff. We have river frontage that we can develop. We have a lot back to and be able to raise a family.
Thank you. Question number 2 begins with Mr. Lydon. What do you see as the Caribou community's greatest strength and why?
We have a small, people know each other, a small but vibrant community, and that's very important for families looking to be beautiful. It's like if people come back, and once they've gone out and seen the world, we just need to have jobs for them, and it's a beautiful place to live.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, also Caribou's community's greatest strength and why?
Obviously our people, as I said earlier, in our infrastructure, wonderful thing, but there's a group of people. We also have a lot of support. We have people that support our library board. We have Friends of the Nylander. They support that. We have good tourism. I mean, we have the best sled trails. We have infrastructure here that people can use. There's housing around. There's nice housing. There's homes for sale and that type of thing. So that would be one of our greater strengths.
Thank you. Mr. Ayer?
Time permitting, if we didn't have jobs we needed to get to, we probably could sit there for 20, 30 minutes and talk, The other thing is that we have got some really good department heads in this community. You look at what the rec center does to go snowmobiling. It's a place to come to go fishing, to go hunting. I mean, Caribou's perfectly situated to get out into the northern Maine woods. All points from Caribou where they head out to the woods, stay here before they go snowmobiling. You look at what we've done with the marathons and Bike Maine, and I mean, we're really set up really well here, and I think
Thank you. Ms. Lister?
I will not disagree with any one of my fellow candidates. I mean, we started, 3 years old is when my first foray into Caribou, and we spent the first. Both have that confidence that this is a safe place to raise our children, not just in security, but just in mental health. They can go out and they can sit by the river and they can listen to the birds, and they don't have to listen to all the nonsense because it's not up here. And they did the research, and all the numbers worked for them. Job opportunities, maybe not so much that we would like to see, but we have a great group of people here that are invested from Virginia. But you guys do it so much better than anything I've ever seen anywhere else. So I think the commitment with the people that love this place, that's the greatest strength of Caribou.
Economic issues, economic development is an ongoing thing. It's not something that can be fixed immediately. It's ongoing all the time. I believe we need to focus on our base, the business, and get the business back. You're almost chasing it down the road. So you build that up, and we've got a lot of good things. I mean, we have a candidate here who's recently opened a business, Tom, and there's just development going on. Just what people say that it's negative, and then you outreach to those.
You get great service, people are going to come back. That's what I've tried to do in the farming, and then with my business I just started up. And we have the unique ability to be able to. I've been a part of the planning board for a year now, and by working with businesses as far as zoning and different wants and needs from them, an aging community, we need that. And we need to be able to be flexible and to make ourselves, again, more marketable for businesses coming up here. Evolving door. And I think, Caribou's in a unique opportunity where we could really boost business by working with businesses.
For efforts to bring new businesses to Caribou.
Thank you.
Yes.
So as a small business owner, one of the largest issues that my husband and I have run into is a lack of what we would consider business-ready locations. Caribou has been here a while, and the buildings are a reflection of our image has to line up. From incentives that support startup, wherewithal to cause significant.
As I have the opportunity zones, it's a new program. There's already been a lot of effort and good at different types of jobs. I think this opportunity zone program is a great opportunity. And it's, I would see, since Caribou is not in the zone, we'd have to have a market who's in Limestone. It's waiting to have a business there. Different type of zones like manufacturing. Once we have those jobs, it's going to only help our businesses here. So thank you.
Thank you. Question 4 begins with Mr. Ayer. Candidates usually say they want to lower taxes, but how would you plan to do that, especially without cutting essential services?
At my house out on the Grimes Road, I'd really love to lower taxes. I think our department heads are doing well with their budgets. A lot of the budget process. What you want to do is basically have a well-balanced budget that's gonna really help out the department heads with public works, the rec, and every example. We think that's the only spot that's going to erode on that river. It's not. There's many other places and you have the risk analysis and see, what is the worst case scenario. Plan for the worst, hope for the best type deal. I think we're going to find that we can cut our budgets.
Concern. And as far as lowering taxes, I'm not sure we're at the point yet where that's something that we can really do and keep it down. I definitely think that with the River Road kind of lead our mill rate, and after spending about 2 years trying to find a property that kind of made sense in terms of finances and market value and compare it to quality of life services and road maintenance, ambulance and fire, I mean, those are necessities, and you can't cut necessities. I mean, our surrounding communities have had to do that, and it's taken a toll on them. And for us to open some more communication lines with the citizens who are concerned that their tax money is not being spent wisely, or they're not really sure what's going on. So I definitely would like to increase that availability there.
Yeah, it's public knowledge. So
I know. I looked up and.
yeah.
Anyway, I agree. I would not want to be. I get my tax bill plowing your streets, keeping them open so kids can go to school. They have jobs and families, and we need to keep Caribou running. So I would focus on,
Caribou has obviously like a $10 million budget, and I think in the last few years, this council and the previous councils have done a pretty good job of keeping it, maintaining with the rising costs and providing the services that we have. If the county goes up, or the city goes, or the RSU goes up, then obviously it comes back on the council to either cut there or raise the taxes. Last year they were police cruisers or that sort of thing, and you really have to be, like as everybody has said earlier, you got to go through the line items and be fragile. With more taxes, then that's a good thing.
Okay. Thank you. Question number 5 begins with Ms. Lister. Tell me.
She and I both have, in our adult life, spent many miles traversing the country, and we've been in very large cities, we've been in not so large cities, we've been just Caribou, and I understand this question here. For me, it's giving everybody the opportunity to be the very best that they can be. And when we have, I think that some of the draw to the small town and the rural is really in the how it makes you feel. And since security is just one aspect of that, creativity is what I've said before. Time with their family, they wanted to see more sunrises and things like that. And I feel that, giving your basic services into your small and rural communities and making sure those are effective and efficient for the people that are living there, then...
in my introduction, it said I came here in 2003 for a job. I transferred here. Wound up buying a house that I looked at on the internet, and I went and looked at several houses. My sports teams are here. You don't have to be there. We have internet. We have everything here. So we can, also the way we talk, share cultures, even in Maine, it's there a while. I found I liked it here, and grew into my home, and got really comfortable, and decided that moving around isn't for me. I stay here, could go on and on, but that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I've in a small town, rural communities. I've lived here 90% of my life, I guess. We have all the services that are available, libraries, trail systems and that sort of thing. It's clean, and it's relatively inexpensive to live here. I mean, in the big scheme, if you go somewhere else, you talk to friends I have that live in other places, they either pay it back.
Thank you. Mr. Ayer.
I've traveled to Canada, Mexico, U.S. cities. Many knows your name, and that can be a blessing and a curse. But it's the amount of support. Nowhere else have I ever seen a community that, in the time of need, can really pull together, and everybody helps each other out. Farmers nowadays, that's just something you don't see very much in this country now. I helped run a charity through New York, and the biggest thing was putting boots on the ground and getting out and helping people. That's what makes me want to stay here, and that's why I think this community is one of the best places to live, and why I'll continue to stay here.
CPAC, the library, etc.
Thanks. Well, I think those are important assets to the community. Gives us sheets that have all the community activities and parades, and you'd be amazed how much stuff actually goes on. I've seen some postings from music coming there soon, and I'm glad to see that. I'd like to see more live music, because that's kind of underserved in town. I believe it's important to have to offer our visitors and our children. But yeah, CPAC, I'd like
community. That's when people, different people in the community use some of these facilities more than others. But when people, their thoughts, I think it's all a good part. Makes us a well-rounded community, and I support those.
Thank you. Mr. Ayer.
I'm a big proponent for cultural. What's going on? What have we done? What's your history? You grew up here. This is what we've done. You look at the library and all the, she tells me, you know, if they got 100 acres in a month, they'd be happy, you know. Without these services, without the Nylander Museum, without the weekends, and to have something to do, and we need more of that up here. We need more of something to do, because if not, kids are going to get into trouble. And I just like the rec department, keep them busy, and you'll have a happy, healthy family.
Thank you. Ms. Lister.
Well, we lived in Richmond for 14 years, and where we still have, like they said, the Nylander Museum. I mean, we did. I took my kids there on a homeschool field trip, and there were 40 of us in that little building, and we were just kind of like scooching around, and they're trying to show in our pocketbook. To be able to take them to the CPAC and have the opportunity to see these huge bands or the comedy shows, or even people having the genealogical society and going to be able to see all the historical photos and look through newspaper records for the last 100, 150 years. I mean, people, and actually some people that aren't local, to come and see what we've been doing. And so that can't be minimized at all. It's not getting money at all, so keep that up. And then
Question number 7 begins with Mr. Smith. What would you do to grow quality of life in Caribou?
Quality of life, I guess, is kind of like the song. I don't hear people going downtown saying this is an awful place to live, or they're crying in their coffee at the store. And, you know, there's one thing that we've done a lot of things to keep our community clean and respectable, to grow the quality of life.
I think is pretty good with all the events, and a lot of that recognition should go to Christine. I mean, she works tirelessly on a lot of, and is another thing that is, people come up here, and that's a pre-qualifier for the Boston Marathon. You know, that's a big thing. You have Bike Maine that just came up, and country skiing. I mean, we really live in a truly rich environment. Where else can you say, geez, every year I go cross-country skiing, I go mountain biking, I go running, I go fishing. And like Jody said, you know, quality of life is one of those things that, you know, money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys a boat. And have you ever seen somebody not smile? There's a lot of different facets to this quality of life question, but I think we're on the right track with everything that the community's doing.
Thank you. Ms. Lister.
that are often overlooked. And we also have it's diverse among the population depending on who you talk to. So while the younger ones would prefer programs at the local rec study pavement to drive on. And so as a council member, I want to make each decision with quality of life in mind versus putting emphasis on final dollar only.
California, they called San Diego America's finest city. And when I was looking to come here, I thought Caribou had some similar type of things we could do is, again, support Caribou to be a place where businesses want to come and grow. Here, it's if we get to a point where the median age goes over a certain amount, businesses will look at entrepreneurs and stuff here in Caribou, but I think we need to market it not just in the region, but in a wider net.
Question 8 begins with Mr. Ayer. An effort has been made to replace the city's fire station. Should the city be more frugal with such massive capital outlays and prioritize things such as fixing the washed out river road and maintaining existing city facilities so that they remain in good
station? It's in pretty bad disarray. This building's been here a long time. The fire station was actually, fire trucks are probably where I'm sitting. Would melt the snow, and there you go. There's your problem solved. We've grown. Ambulances has gotten bigger because medicine's changed. People need to, when you're doing transfers down to Bangor and down to Portland, people need to be able to move around. It's just the way of the world. Same thing in farming. 2-row harvester went to a 4-row, and now everybody's harvesting 26 rows at a time. I mean, that's just the way of the world. And I go back to doing our due diligence and figuring out what we can do to strive off something like that. So when the time comes that we need to really look at our response times and good areas for these firefighters to live in, because 24 hours a day. They
in the planning phases, and I don't want to make any conjectures based on what I don't know. What I do know is, yes, the police station downstairs is it's a very interesting place to go. Our surrounding communities, and honestly, with the top half of the state, we spend more time sending people downstate through ambulance services than we do carrying them around here. I'm just not sure yet as far as being frugal with capital outlay. I mean, yeah, the River Road is going to be something that we're going to deal with first. I mean, there's just no question about it. We've got 4 or 5 have good people in charge of those areas of, Chief Cahagan and Chief Susie. We've got, they're on that available. We'll be able to make a really smart decision about where our money goes and the timeline in which we use it.
Thank you. Mr. Lyden.
The conditions of the police station and the future needs of the fire department. So I'd say we have to prioritize and think about the future needs. I've looked at it. Just seems to me the Bird's Eye location would be a good location. It's from a public safety standpoint, both for police, fire, and ambulance. You could get in all directions right out of there pretty quick. Good roads. Needs to be expanded. Look at that, and then the Bird's Eye location has plenty of room for expansion. I'm hesitant to make $28 million, went to $48 million. I'll be honest with you. So, and thank you.
Still, it was in our concept plan, in our 10-year concept plan, as far as building a new building. It is still in the plan. It would ultimately have to go, it says at least $10 million. That's to a referendum to the taxpayer for the final decision. And one of the reasons I believe that the police was going to go with the fire station is because the only grant money available, if any, use a portion of that for a public safety building of whatever capacity. It hopefully would open up the remainder of that.
Have any? We're good? Okay. We will now have a closing statement by each candidate, not to exceed 2 minutes each. We'll start with Ms. Lister.
9 girls and what kind of car he was going to drive, and I was pleasantly surprised that he was thinking about his economic future. So when he's looking at educational opportunities, and he's looking at the different things that he could do his own self in creating his own business or finding places for us and that have paved the way so that we could be here right now. And I want to be able to take their efforts, refine them so that the next generation.
Thanks for inviting me here, and fellow candidates, good luck. It's really a good forum. So, the out-migration has been mentioned, and I understand our young people need to get out in the world and see the world. I want to try to do, work with my fellow councilors if elected. I have driven across the country and up and down the East Coast. When I come back, I always feel at ease when I get off I-95, feeling when you get to the county and back home in Caribou. So, as I have gotten older, I found that I appreciate clean air, clean water, and no traffic, and I tell people that I like it here.
Thank you everybody here this evening and the opportunity to answer your questions. I wanted to go back. I was thinking of the quality of life. The first time I heard that was in the 90s with the Base Closure Commission. And I think our quality of life here in Caribou is we'll come back for a brief period of time. And they always mention how beautiful the area is and how nice the people are. I think we have a lot of good things going on in Caribou. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ayer.
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate my fellow candidates, what they said. Good luck, and I'd like to thank Jessica and Christina and Jane for helping in my opening statement. My roots run deep here. I'm vested here. Having 5 children in this community, it's a lot. 5 children in itself is a lot, but having places where you can bring them and do stuff in this community, and life grows with it. Sky's the limit, and one of the things I was also near to my heart in business is, and it's the same thing with this municipality. We've got to be able to measure what we do as far as budget and everything else. And if you vote for me, I plan on.
The absentee ballots are available through Thursday, November 1st. And I want to thank you for joining us. Please feel free to personally speak with the candidates and ask any further questions. Thank you.